A few years ago, the richest man in the world stood up and described his big plan to reinvent the internet. One app for messaging, payment, shopping, banking, your whole life online in a single place. He called it the Everything app, except that app already existed, and for almost 10 years. In fact, more than 1 billion people in China were already living inside it. It's called WeChat, and Elon Musk hadn't invented anything. He had described something Chinese engineers shipped while Silicon Valley was still arguing about whether it could be done.
My idea would be like, how about if we just copy WeChat?
Huawei just shocked the entire chip industry. Engineers who spent years calling this impossible are now scrambling to explain how China pulled it off without the one machine everyone assumed they needed. For 60 years, chipmakers followed one simple idea: shrink the transistor and everything gets better. Smaller devices packed with more power than the room-sized machines of decades ago. That idea had a name: Moore's Law.
You're going to see more and more and more autonomy, not just fully autonomous aircraft, but also partially automated aircraft.
Having cheap energy is one of the most important things that a civilization can have. It's really the root behind why civilizations grow and flourish.
A small nuclear reactor built by California startup Valor Atomics was flown from California to Utah as a part of a push to develop a new generation of advanced nuclear reactors. On February 16th, it was flown across 3 U.S. Air Force cargo planes. This flight from California to Utah showed that this new generation of reactors that Valor is developing can be rapidly deployed to wherever the U.S. needs them to be.
This reactor is what we call a rapidly deployable reactor. So it's easy to go and install on a site. We can set it up very quickly and we can start making power. That's really useful for military installations, for offsite locations, disaster response. So we don't move it once it's running. It's just a very rapidly deployable power plant.
The trade war between the United States and China is now over a decade old. High tariffs and trade restrictions in the first Trump administration were actually intensified during the Biden years. Then came Trump 2, and even more of the same. Friend shoring, moving production to friendlier countries, or at least where the tariff policies were friendlier. China plus one became a thing whereby companies would keep the bulk of their production in China, but build backup production capacity elsewhere. All those strategies are blowing up, and many of the companies that made big investments to shift their production out of China are spending a lot of money again to bring the production back.
If convention delegates had their way in 1944, Henry A. Wallace would have been elected to a second term as vice president and succeeded Franklin Delano Roosevelt as the 33rd president of the United States. What if Vice President Wallace had been nominated to run again with Roosevelt instead of the unknown Harry Truman? What if Henry A. Wallace had become our 33rd president?
There was an opportunity to take a different path that may have led to a less confrontational relationship with the Soviet Union.
An iron curtain has descended across the continent.
Hey, good evening. It's the Whiners, episode 95, and it's Ryan, Jeff, and Morgan, your hosts. And I guess it's still Thursday. Yes, it's Thursday. It's over 100 degrees here in Texas. And we have with us our guest, Dr. Mi Zhou from Beijing, who is a research fellow at the Chinese Academy of International Trade and Economic Cooperation, which is associated with the Ministry of Commerce. And he's also a contributor to the Silk Road Project. Before we go on, let me say to you from the intro, many people say China copies America's innovations. But the next big things need microchips. China has made all kinds of very interesting breakthroughs under sanctions. We also have a crop of new 20-somethings who are Silicon Valley kids in the United States who are moving into defense, but it might be a bubble, I'm not sure. We have these policies to cajole nations with tariffs, and that seems to be still backfiring. But I hearken back to the end of World War II, where we could have gone a very different way. And so maybe, you can discuss with us today how we could change course again for the whole world. So before we get to that, keep that in mind, if you would. Anybody drinking wine on the Winers? How about you?
Why, of course. Of course. What a silly question. What are you having, Morgan? That same bottle that's been open for a month?
I don't dive into wine that much, but I got a new bottle of Federalist. It's a Cabernet. It's fairly a good price, $15.99. So far, it's really good. I'm enjoying it.
Listen to her. She's spending some serious money.
Revolutionary.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with the theme. Last bottle of wine was the Unshackled. Now I'm doing Federalist. I think I'm going to keep
You sound a little distant, though, Morgan. Is your microphone on?
It should be. Sorry, let me see if I have the right one.
While you're checking, Jeff, what are you drinking?
Tap your mic.
Oh.
Okay, don't. I'm drinking a very inexpensive Montepulciano. It's available exclusively at Trader Joe's. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who rush out and drink everything that I recommend, I apologize to those of you who don't live near Trader Joe's. Actually, I have not even taken my first sip yet. I was a little late getting set up here this evening, but I will report back in a concise manner later to let you know whether or not I enjoyed it.
If it's breathing or not, right? Well, I am drinking a French wine, a Chateauneuf de Pape from the famous Telegram. It's called Telegram vineyard from Domaine. I can't really say it. De Vieux Telegraph. So it's one of the most revered estates out there, highly rated. It's got quite a nose. I've been letting it breathe. This is not cheap, actually. This is that's about $60 for the bottle. So yeah, just sort of trying it out today.
I like it.
Yes, and we know Dr. Mi Zhou is not drinking wine because it's 7 in the morning where you are.
Yes.
Yes, so we'll give you a pass. Plus, that you said that you are on your shift right now, so we thank you for giving us your time.
No, we definitely appreciate it. I should mention, by the way, that I've been working on taking. I went to China. I've been building a friendship with the consulate, Chinese consulate in Los Angeles, and they said you have to call Dr. Zhou and have him on your show. That's where this comes out of. And I also want to announce I will be going back to China coming in October on the 15th to Guangzhou and then hopefully to Beijing after that. So I bought the plane tickets. Tickets.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, it's great.
So what's the date?
October 15th to the 27th or something right around that time. So far, the city of Guangzhou is they're working on helping me to get to the Canton Fair. The first phase, which is about the new technology, EVs, and various other new technologies. I'm really into this trash burning power plant that they have down there because apparently this is a whole new generation of power plants. So they're going to show me that. And then in Beijing, we'll see. Maybe I'll get to meet Dr.
Now, when you say they're helping me, do you mean helping you or helping our guest?
The guy in Texas. They're helping the guy in Texas.
All right. Thanks for clarifying. Hey, before we start, I just want to thank our sponsor, Goldco, and encourage our beloved audience to visit winers.gold to get your free gold and silver kit that explains how precious metals can diversify your retirement portfolio. And right now, they're also promoting a limited time promotion. Qualifying customers are eligible for a free solar generator. So just go to winers.gold to get more information and see if you qualify.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to it.
Do people use solar generators around China?
No, I think that a solar generator is just for not just for the common family right now. Maybe not that frequently to be seen, but in the factories, in different kind of official buildings, they are having more and more panels. I think that is a very interesting thing. If you are flying over China, no matter from the north to the south, you can always see a lot of wind turbine together with the solar farm. But in the cities, we're still about to start, because I think that in China we are trying to develop the better materials, or something is more flexible, not just those hard ones, those heavy ones. Trying to improve the material to make the solar panels more fitted for the buildings. And in some places, maybe in the some villages that are far from the cities, they are using that quite frequently. And even in some places for the lamp ports, in the villages, they are using more and more of that.
I mean, I have had the idea that solar and wind pretty much here in the United States, I would just say they're unreliable scams. That's how I have approached it. Whereas, certainly the so-called fossil fuel plants, coal is one thing, but nuclear power is something that I've always really liked, because it's constant. It's ultimately would be cheaper. I mean, we have a regulatory problem. In the intro, I had a quick snippet of a video of this company, Valor Atomics, and this young guy here. I'm going to remove that little overlay there. Yeah. This young guy here, which I know you can't see it because you're on a small device, but Valor Nuclear.
Yeah,
Valor, Valor has some backing from this company called Anduril, which makes AI-powered weapons. They're a brand new company. About I want to say they're $60 billion. This company is backed by both Palantir and that company. The guys that are running it are very young, and so they're trying to make SMRs, right? The small modular reactors that can be placed, for a military site or somewhere in an emergency very quickly. But so China is building something like 39 nuclear power plants right now. What do you think about this, where we have a lot of Wall Street guys coming in, throwing lots of money to build these things, versus how you're doing it in China? What's the difference, in terms of the approach? At the same time, let me just say that it seems like with some things in China, it's just like here, where there's 1 million people that come out with an app, and then a bunch of them vaporize, fall apart, and lose money, and then one or two, like WeChat, stand as king. So is it similar, or is it very different?
I think that it's quite different. I am not quite clear about the regulations in the United States about the nuclear reactors. I think that maybe it's up to the states to decide where they can build this kind of generations, plants. In China, they are much easier because the central government has plans to trying to verify the safety as requirement, or the technology standards about that. And there are two major companies in China to do with these nuclear reactors. They are developing, their plants, and also, China has very strong contracting companies who are able to build that in the very quick speed, and trying to fill all these requirements that administration really needs us to follow. In the past, we have several generations of the nuclear reactors, which are not so safe when we were not having the water. Like in Japan, what happened when there was some shortage of the supply of the electricity, there will be overheat in certain part. But in China now, I think that some companies are designing some, even better mechanism to guarantee the safety. They put, they use the gravities to control the reactions and put, it's upside down for the reactors at the bottom. So even there's no electricity, they can use this gravity to stop the reactions to continue. So I mean that is really our big improvement, because in China it's normally we have the nuclear reactors in the seaside along the coastal areas. But now we can do more. We can put that in the inland, in some other areas in the very huge area of the Middle and the West. So the mechanism, like you mentioned, that China is, especially good at the collectively efforts to trying to develop a certain kind of things and make it very much easier for the progress. So based on the demand, based on this market, we are really providing the different ways of the electricity generation, from nuclear to the hydros, and even some of the fossil fuels are still being used, and also renewable energy. So that is a very complicated grids for the connecting of all the parts. But I mean the main reason is that we have the market, so the companies can benefit by doing that. So they are really working hard to improve their efficiency and abilities to meet the demand.
Now, I know in America, there's a lot of culture around nuclear energy as being harmful to the environment, not a viable option for the, to get away from coal and gas. What are some of the, how would you kind of combat some of those arguments? And do people in China, do they also have those reservations with nuclear energy, as Americans do? I think primarily we would say after kind of the Vietnam anti-war protesters, a lot of them shifted to protesting a lot of the nuclear plants that kind of created this culture of anti-nuclear energy in the country, and it's kind of stifled that progression in this particular country. Do you have that over there?
Well, it's true that when the people are hearing that some of the nuclear plant at the beginning, they are not so confident in supporting that. And we also have some people are trying to say that you should not put the reactors just near our family or our houses. So at the beginning, we are really having these problems. But now I think that the situation has been improved with some of these introductions by the government administrations and also the companies. People are getting more aware of what they are really having in the situation. But we're still trying to choose the locations carefully, trying to not to have the possible impacts on the environment. I mean that we are already have so many nuclear reactors. I mean, these plants are providing more jobs, employment, and also giving support for the local economies, for the taxes. I think that is also helpful for them to trying to get a better support from the people. Well, on the other hand, I think that for these companies themselves, they are really having more desire to reduce the technology security or safety problems. And based on that, we're not just using the electricity as one product. We are also using the radiation to improve or better ferment to the wines, the red wine, the white wine in China, to produce the white wines. Use some of this technology coming from the nuclear. I think that is a very interesting wine. So next time when you come here, maybe you can try some, and it has a very good effects to shorten the time for us to wait for the wine to become mature. So it is a very interesting technology, and these products has been introduced to the market.
Oh, wow, that's very interesting. Yeah, I had no idea about that.
Nuclear and wine, huh? I drink a little bit
Yes,
too
and
that
also
way.
some
Yeah, that
medicines, they're using that to improve the medicines, to trying to introduce some of this technology in the medicines innovations, and trying to speed up the process of having some medicines for the people.
Now I know you say you play a role in the Belt and Road Initiative. I know most of our viewers, given just how they continually tune into us, they probably already know, but some people might not know. Could you tell us more about that and some projects that are in the works?
Well, yeah, that is a very interesting question. I mean, when I talk about that, I think that most of the people are thinking that China is trying to, use our power to control the world, or trying to set the rules to the world. But let me explain what I'm thinking of the BRI. I mean, when China was proposed that idea in the year of 2013, we are really in the very important time or position, because before the 2008 global financial crisis, it's very stable. For our action or actors to be play is just trying to produce the things. We don't have to worry about the market. We don't have to worry about the input. We import from other countries and process and manufacture and export to United States market, to EU market. So before the global financial crisis, it's very stable. And when it happened, in the year of 2008, we realized it is not sustainable if we are continue to do that. Because in the after the global financial crisis, the world has changed. The world economy has changed. The EU is not like what they was before the global financial crisis. They have a weaker and a weaker position, and shrinked abilities of consumption. Well, United States is still pretty strong, but United States choose to be more conservative. Don't want to buy the things from China, from other countries. So we need to find out the way for us to have a continuously development. I think that what can we do, because we are still have more and more abilities for capacity, and I think that one of our choices is that what we had for our own experiences, what can we support our development for the previous 40 years. There are two possible reasons. The first one is urbanization, and the second is industrialization. So we believe that what we can do to continue our development is based on the urbanization and the possible industrialization of the developing countries and emerging economies. So we want to do that. We want to share the experiences with our friends. We raised this concept of the BRI. The core the core principle of the BRI is interconnectivities. We want to improve the interconnectivities to reduce the cost of doing businesses among all these regions. So it's not just China trying to do what the United States has been doing as a Marshall plans to supporting other countries. We are really want to share experiences with others. So BRI is an open platform. We have, we have stated that we welcome any countries or partners who want to join that. Actually, last time I went to the Department of Defense of United States, and I also asked them, "Do you want to join this?" And I mean that is very open and transparent, and I don't think that is kind of a very big plans based on the foreign aid. We are not supporting the other countries by giving them money. We are really trying to share the experiences and welcome any suggestions from them. And the BRI also have different phases. In the latest one, we had the recommendation or suggestion from US to be more transparent, to fight against the corruptions, and trying to be more green, not to impact on the environment. So BRI is a very, very big plan. It's not just a one, proposal for 10 years. Maybe it will last for a century. I think that is really what we get from the industrialization and urbanization. And we hope that other countries can also benefit from that. And in this, at the same time, we could have a bigger and bigger space to export, to invest. So it's a what we call it's a win-win situation for all of the related stakeholders.
Yeah, I mean, it is transparent, and as you said, China benefits too. They're becoming more and more self-reliant by developing these relationships with other countries, whether it's in the realm of building factories there or just in trade agreements. Can you give us a couple of examples of countries that China has become cozy with over the last few years?
Well, I cannot remember exactly, those projects, but there are several, infrastructure projects, like, when China is trying to do businesses with Laos, the Laos that their dream is trying to transfer their countries from the landlocked country into the land-linked country. So they don't have the access to the ocean. And we built our rails connecting Laos with Yunnan province of China. So it is not that super high-speed rails because of the geographic constructions, but they are connecting Laos with China's market. So they benefit a lot from the export of these products to China's market, and more people are easier to get access to the main market. And another one is in Indonesia, and is connecting the two major cities of Indonesia, the capital and another business center. And it has very profitable ways to connecting these two main cities. Like in China, we're connecting Beijing and Shanghai. So these connections are really make it more convenient for the people to travel. This infrastructure is also happening in Africa and also in Europe. We are trying to settle, the bottlenecks of the logistics and trying to make these markets connecting to the main market in a better way. And at the same time, we are also trying to support some countries to build the harbors to improve their capacities of this, the throughput of this, the export. And this is the first layer for the infrastructure. And the second is we are trying to negotiate with our partners about the free trade agreements, those kind of trade agreements. Like we have been involved in the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, that is RCEP, in China, ASEAN countries, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand. It is now the largest free trade agreements network in the world. And we have given all the African countries, when we have the diplomatic relations, of zero tariffs treatment for all their exports. So this mechanism is a soft one, and we want to improve the environment for the trade. And the third one is about all kinds of the people-to-people exchange. We have unilaterally to give the visa-free treatment for more and more countries. So the people come to China, they don't have to apply for the visas before they come here. I think that is a very important way to reduce the cost of coming to China to pay a visit, to look at China, like what they are now doing. So all these things are under the framework of BRI. It's not just limited in the economic levels. It's also about the sports, about the communications between the parties. It's also about the cultures. They are very, very wide. We don't have a very clear boundaries on this basket of measurements and initiatives.
That's interesting. First thing you said a minute ago, you said that you came to the United States and offered to have the U.S. join the Belt and Road Initiative, and then you're talking about creating these free trade zones. I mean, it is the case that a lot of Americans believe, and probably this is the case in Europe, they see China's economic development as a threat. Earlier, I was saying that, and I want you to address that. Earlier, I was also saying that there are a lot of claims that China is, stole, I don't know how else to put it, technologies from the United States and brought them over. But
Improved on it. That's the way that you could give it a more positive spin.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's true too. I
think
agree
that's how
with
the
you.
media portrays it.
I'm
That's
just
kind
saying
of
this is the way that people think. I'm not saying that it's true, but I do think it's something interesting for
I think
you
it
to
is true. I think
address.
it's their strategy actually to
Well,
improve on what we've done.
Me,
You don't think so?
Tell us, me. What do you think? Is
Okay.
that way?
Yeah. I think that when you're looking back in the past decades, you can find that many Chinese students, when they graduated from the colleges in China, they want to go to United States to continue their graduated studies or PhD. So United States has been one very good example for China to follow. So this is true. This is true that China want to learn from our partners who are having a much higher development stage compared with us. So if you're looking at our research, we're always trying to conclude what other countries have been doing. I think that is kind of philosophy of China. We want to try to borrow the lessons and also experiences from others before we are really trying to do some. But I want to say that if you are talking about the very specific technology or kind of products, China is not trying to copy the others, like what's the Germany stolen from United Kingdom about the steel and ironing technology, or US trying to learn something from the Europe in the past. China want to follow our promises in the intellectual property rights protection. I think that is very unique. If you're looking at China, we have a specific IPR, intellectual property rights court. These courts are extremely or just focus on the suits of for those IP related suits. So it is very clear that from the government administration, we want to protect the IP rights. And for the companies, I think that they have witnessed the development of United States, like the Boston technology for the robot dog, and many Chinese companies said that it's so good to do that, and they want also to design their prototypes for these kind of things. So that is the beginning. I think that we were inspired by some of the technology or products of United States and also from European unions. And then we want to do something because we are saying this market, but we are not steal the technology. I want to say that if it happened, why we didn't see so many suits coming from US companies? Because they are really, if something happened, they really harmed from that. They were trying to stop that. So gradually, I think that we have developed a much better robots compared with the Boston, this company. And now Unitree and other Chinese companies are having stronger and stronger abilities to do that. So if that is true, how could it possible for some people to take this technology and do it in a better way? So I think that ideas, maybe we borrow some from United States because we didn't notice that. And now we are seeing that happening. The reasons why you are saying more innovation products like the robots, the artificial intelligence, and also the innovative medicines, what we call it, new three items of the export right now in China. The reason is that we do have these people of the talents, and we do have, even more important, the market. The market is very strong to support the development, like what we have been saying as the renewable energy. Actually, China is not the first, pioneers of doing that. But, we are having some troubles from United States and also from EU in the first decade of this 21st century. And then we have much better, support from the government to develop our domestic market. And this market is super large, and what's more important is stable. So it's provide enterprises some incentives to do that. And now they are having the abilities to transfer from the laboratories into the factories and into the market. I think that is the reason why I'm seeing China is so, move up or move on so quickly, continuously in certain kind of areas.
How do we get Americans, though, to not see what China's doing as a threat?
Well, I'm not quite sure. I think that we do need some time, in the past when some countries is developing much quicker, we have some intention or emotion to say that you should not do that. Maybe you are doing that, you are achieving that because some of the, unreasonable reasons, or we want to, try to stop that. I think that most of the Chinese companies are getting more and more aware that they need to be transparent. They need to share their points with the audience, with their possible customers. So, they are having more and more abilities in the international communications. I think that is definitely what we are trying to do. But it still needs some time to prove that we don't have some kind of intentions to trying to to harm the economy from other
that's
countries.
the word, harm or nefarious. You see, the semantics matter here because China actually is a threat, but that doesn't mean that they're behaving in a way that they shouldn't. I think it's true that whomever wins the race for tech supremacy, history has shown us, that has political implications, and that's something we need to worry about. So yeah, you could call that a threat, but it's healthy competition also. It's not nefarious, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I was doing my visiting scholar in Stanford in the year of 2011. And during those time, I had some talk with some friend, and she told me that, for the past 20 years, the prices haven't changed a lot or haven't raised a lot. I think that is a very important fact, when you are importing the products from China without many barriers, you are really enjoying the expansion of capacity of the supplies. But in this past several years, you can find that the inflation is keeping up and up. The reason is very simple. You don't have enough supply. Without enough supply, the price will have to go up and up. So I think that is, what we are looking at these issues. For the consumers, we really want to have more different choices. I think that is very important for us to keep our standard of living in the manageable
And the
way.
U.S. has to rely on supplies from China for munitions, so that affects our military capability.
Actually, NPR just did a big story on that very topic. They said that China produces 70% of the world's drones, electric vehicles, lithium-ion batteries, solar cells, and the U.S. stockpile of munitions has been diminishing. But the way that things go, like what you're describing, Jeff, we are highly dependent upon China for munitions, and yet we are saber rattling against them. That's the thing. Now, let me just mention along those lines, there was some, this story came out recently in a journal called ProPublica, where the U.S. taxpayers put $533 million into a General Dynamics factory artillery plant. And what happened was nothing was built. Everything broke. And, people typically don't, this kind of thing happens frequently where we're pouring huge amounts of money into military industrial complex activity, and then just a small number of people get wealthy, or in this case, the company made nothing. And then they said, the Defense Department said, well, we're just going to keep paying them, and we'll pay them less down the road. So what I want to know is in China, there are a lot of different companies competing in different realms. Do you have problems like this where there's like a bubble and then a bursting of that bubble where you have to then come in and save the day? It seems like taxpayers here bail out companies more often than not.
Well, in China, we do have some, the bubbles, like you mentioned, especially for the real estate. For this sector, it's a very, very important impacts on China's development for the past several years. We're seeing the real estate is not as good as before. But if you turn back to rewind to several years ago, the people never believed that the price will go down. So actually, I think that the bubbles really coming from the expectation change. Well, as some of these industries, I don't think that China is so concentrated in certain industries. So, if you're looking at trade structures between our two countries, you will find that is are very important indicators you can find. The China import from United States are very limited, concentrated in certain areas like the agricultural products, like the Boeing's airplanes or certain kind of electronics. But China's export to United States are much more diversified. I think that trade really is reflects about our industries, our industry diversities. So in China, we are not having so many concentrated industries, but it is true that Chinese government always trying to encourage some development of the technology industries, like for the renewable energies, like what we call is the future industries. We want to put several industries in that categories. So the local governments are also trying to follow these kind of indications, and they also trying to do the similar things to develop that. But the capitals are more wise. They are trying to grasp different opportunities. So it's not so concentrated in certain areas. So if there are some bubbles, maybe it's not so influential to the economy, except for the real estate. We are almost getting to the bottom of this real estate cycle. I think that it is a really challenge we are dealing with right now.
Well, we should talk about the Iran war. I'm sorry to interrupt, Morgan. You want to go ahead?
No, you're fine.
Well, we should talk about the Iran war. I'm wondering if, how China might be benefiting from the war, or how it's impacted their policies, their plans, in terms of, are there economic opportunities that have been created? Are they hurting economically? Is Taiwan now seen in a different light now that the U.S. military has been exposed as weak? Anything along those lines that you can share with us?
Well, I'm not an expert in the Middle East, but I know that for the agreement, signed by Iran, United States, and the European unions and other countries are not followed by United States government. So it's unilaterally stop this agreement. Now, it is very interesting if you're looking at these issues in the economic way, because after the Middle East, has some problems. United States don't have many import from that, while China do have many import from that. But it is very strange that China's, the petrol's consumptions and prices are much stable compared with United States. So I think that is because that China have a lot of preparation before that. And like you mentioned about the military exposure of the weakness, I don't think that is what we are really want to say. I think that United States has been long regarded as a stabilizer in the regional conflicts, no matter in the Middle East, in the Southeast Asia. But now some other countries who are depending too much on the United States, they are having some worries, like for Japan, like for the Philippines. They think that maybe the United States cannot protect them anymore, or not so effective. So for China, we keep our own way of development. I think that the defense industry is also one important industry in China, but we didn't spend too much money compared with United States for the amount of money. So the problem is that we are trying to be defense, but U.S. is trying to change the name to be Department of the War. So it's a really interesting impacts on the people's anticipations in China. So Chinese people are thinking whether United States is now doing well beneficiary for the global peace or even economic development. I think that is really our change from these impacts from the Venezuela to the Middle East. We are saying that it is more unreliable for the defense abilities or military abilities of U.S. troops.
So did in as far as the Middle East war, but isn't it, since really a lot of what's going on there has to do with oil, there have been comments that China played a role in preventing the price of oil from going through the ceiling, based on the fact that China has huge oil reserves. Are you aware?
Yeah, isn't
of
that
those
what Cyrus Vance referred? Or not only Cyrus, but the video said is like he was the savior of the world, so to speak.
Said President Xi saved the world. What was it now? Last week is the way that it went, by not buying oil from the Middle East and actually keeping the price down. Can you say anything about that?
I think that without the gas through of this the oil tanks, we're not able to buy the oil from those countries. I think that is what we got. But the information from the United Nations is that we are not forbidden to buy the oil from Iran. So all these countries are having the rights. It's just from the unilateral sanction from United States itself. I think that from the consensus, we still have the rights, but the U.S. will put some sanctions on these transactions. So many countries are fair to do that. Well, China is really are having many abilities to meet the demand of the China's market, no matter in the way of the fuels or the materials in the petrochemical industries. So we do have these abilities. I think that is also important for the world economies. Many countries are suffering a lot with a higher price of the crude oil in the international market. So we want to be more responsible to the world on this way. And we do have some more space to deal with that because of the NEV, the new vehicle, energy vehicles are widely used in China.
Not as much oil. So in the introduction, I played a little clip from Henry Wallace, who was Franklin Roosevelt's vice president. And then he was replaced by Harry Truman by political shenanigans here in the United States. But in 1942, in the middle of World War II, the founder of Life magazine, Henry Luce, called for an American century. So the idea that America would dominate the post-war world. Some people say China is the new century is going to be the Chinese century. But Wallace said that instead of having that, he said it should be the century of the common man, that we should not let international cartels just run rampant around the world. So I guess what I'm thinking about is President Xi is coming to the United States in a few months. From the standpoint,
few weeks.
Weeks? August, September. You're right. Weeks. Woo.
Next month. Next month.
Next month.
You're delirious from your
delirious.
Oh yeah.
What do you see? What could we expect from improving relations between our countries and actually having a new century that is completely different in that regard for the world? How do you see, for example, the relationship between your president and ours increasing trade between our countries and decreasing those hostile things that we at least see in our media?
Well, I mean, the mechanism in China and in the United States are quite different about the decision, power or kind of a process. in China, if the leaders has made some commitment, we are trying to fulfill the commitments. That is what we are saying, that Chinese people are always keep the words, keep what we promises. So we really expect that the meeting of these, two leaders will give some good results. But some Chinese media are really worried about what the United States is doing after the meetings to fulfill the commitments of this president. So I think that is the problems why we are finding that more entities are put in the entity list of the export control of United States after the meetings, and some new statements or restrictions coming from FCC about the using of the China's products, China's the testing laboratories abilities, or those kind of permits. So in this regard, we have to do something to try to retaliate. Maybe it's retaliate or trying to stop, to give some messages to the US counterpart about that. I don't think that is what we really want to have, because we always encourage tech companies to do more, to be involved in the bilateral relations between these two countries. So I hope that this meeting will try to change some of the tunes on that regard. But I would say that compared with the previous midterm election, this year is much more peaceful compared with last many times about China. Because I have the feeling that in the midterm election before that, in this year, there will be so many bad things or some messages coming from the congressmen, from the administrations on the bilateral relations between our two countries. But this year, it has been improved a little. Well, I hope that next month, when these leaders are able to meet, they can strengthen the mechanism, like what we said, that the bilateral trade counselors or commissions, something like that, to try to improve that importance of that. And we are saying that extremely some bad messages coming from the Defense Department or the War Department of the War of United States and FCCs, and even from the Ministry of Commerce on more restrictions. So we hope that this trend can be reversed or at least paused. But I don't think that is so easy. So I hope that some more deals will be reached, like the import from United States on certain agricultural products or many other issues. The problem is that is not what we don't want to buy from United States, is that we are facing some barriers. The United States don't want to sell to us, like the chips, like certain kind of the equipment. We really want to buy more things, but the walls of limitation or restrictions seems to be higher and higher. So that is a problem. I think that one sentence I want to end is that it is not harming China. It is harming the US, because we can find some substitute from other countries, and also we can do some things by ourselves. That is what is happening in the semiconductors in the previous years. Before the war, we don't have the ability, but now we are having stronger ability.
Right. Huawei has made some breakthroughs in that regard.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Morgan.
Yeah, I would say a lot of the policies China has of, high-speed rail, using these, trade relations with these other countries to try and lift them up, and would be an immense benefit if the U.S. took them on or joined on to China with these initiatives. One thing I do want to get some input from you is the world birth rate decline. You have it in the U.S., in the U.K., and also in China. So I'm wondering, what are some China policies that maybe the U.S. could implement that would kind of combat the low birth rate?
Oh, God.
Well, it's not only happening. Yeah.
I don't know that what they
our
did.
countries.
China is struggling with a low birth rate too, I believe.
I know, but I don't know that they've been very successful, that we should emulate the way they have handled.
Not ones in the past, ones that they're doing right now.
Yeah. I mean, that is a really universal problems. I also found that it's happening in India, in Vietnam, and many countries are suffering from that. I think that is maybe, in my understanding, that is also the byproduct of urbanization and the civilization. When you are having more development, you don't have enough time to try to care about yourself. Maybe in the future, the artificial intelligence technology can free us from this hard work and trying to give us more time to enjoy the life. But I don't know. In China, I think that many local governments are doing something to encourage people to have more children, like extra holidays for the peoples who are not just the female, but also their husbands to have more time.
Yeah, the government is
to take care
encouraging it,
of
but
the
it's not
baby.
happening, right? It's not happening though, right?
It's happening in some places, some provinces, to extra
small, though.
maybe 1 month or several weeks. So this holidays is one policy. Another one is coming from some support of the cost for the people who have 2 children or more. They can be afforded to have a better conditions in buying the houses, in the nurseries. The cost of getting educated will be lowered. So I think that different ways are being introduced, but the pressure is still there. We are still facing many challenges coming from the lower birth rate.
I don't know that anybody has come up with a good idea to deal with this. Not in Europe, not in the United States,
right?
And they're trying. I mean, Elon Musk is.
It's not easy.
Yeah, Elon Musk keeps saying, we've got to do something. But,
just send him around the world with meeting up with different women, and that
he does. Exactly. That's him.
Hey, I wanted just to ask something. I mentioned Cyrus Jansen earlier. I don't know if you are familiar with him, but he's an American geopolitical analyst who lives part of the year in China, part of the year here in the U.S. And he has a huge audience. And he was our guest a couple weeks ago. He said something that I think surprised all of us, and I want to see if you agree or disagree, me. He said that President Trump is very popular in China among the people. Do you agree with that or disagree?
So it depends on what is popular this meaning for the Chinese people. Some people think that he is a little bit more naive in certain areas, or very pure in certain areas, like to chase for what he promises. Some people think that he is, are so abrupt, decide everything by himself, and do not hear from others. So there are different opinions. But I think that one thing is in a common. The people are in China really think that Trump is very special. It's a very special president compared with the previous presidents. So I don't think that
special is the word they use for the people who ride these school buses that are half size. Also,
Cyrus said that the term, or some people in China refer to him as the nation builder. Have you heard that?
Yeah, I heard that. But I think that it is a kind of the fact that, like I said, for the semiconductor, if we don't have any choices, we have to do it by ourselves. So we'd be more united to trying to work harder, trying to do something by ourselves, not depend too much about the export or import from other countries. So that is definitely one reason for us to do more. But I think that Biden administration are also doing something very different. So I think that all these presidents are giving us same directions of pressure for China to be, more independent on the technology or other issues with the United States. I think that is what we are feeling, that if you are not doing that, you will be in the trouble. I think that is a message we got from these policies.
Do you have any hopes or expectations concerning President Xi's upcoming visit to Washington?
I hope that we can at least to restore our communications platforms in the local areas. China and the United States, we do have the provincial state levels communication platforms for many years, but in these recent years, it's not functioning so well. So at least if we're not agree that we can do the things together in the national level, we at least can give some authorizations for the local, the states and the provinces of China to do more cooperation. And another expectation is about what we can do for the artificial intelligence cooperation and dialogue. I hope that we can do more in this regard because it's really affecting all these countries in the world. And no matter China or United States, we cannot deal with these problems on our own strength.
Well, I know that our time with you is limited to an hour, and we are rolling up to that. I want to give the floor to you gentlemen over here. If you want to ask anything else, and I just want to say thank you so much for giving us your time. Hopefully you can come back again. We can ask you more questions.
Yes.
Thank you very much, May.
Thank you very much for joining us, and we appreciate it. That we always have interesting discussions when these shows come up on China. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Anything else you want to say, May? Any other points that you?
Yeah.
I hope that I always are very positive, researcher on these relations between our two countries because we do have so many complementary advantages by both of us. So we hope that the relations could get into or face in our more balanced position as quicker as possible, and it will benefit both of us.
Will you be coming back to the United States to try and offer again that the U.S. would join the Belt and Road Initiative? And I'm sort of serious. I'm sort of serious because
I hope so.
The Trump administration put out a document called a Scientific New Golden Age, and in there they said that one of the biggest problems is America has endured a sustained period of deindustrialization. So, it is the case that the Belt and Road seems to be an engine for industrialization. So, for many countries. So, maybe there is some potential there that could eventually come to us from China, where we could then start to reindustrialize. So any plans to come back?
I hope so, yeah. I will go to United States occasionally to attend some conferences, but it depends on, certain kind of affairs. It's not just, in the schedule right now.
Now I'm curious, how did the State Department respond to your initial request? I know, of course, it was ultimately a no, but how was it?
They didn't say anything about that. Actually, I asked another question in that time because during those times, United States has proposed our so-called our clean network proposals, trying to support the development of ASEAN countries, Southeast Asian countries in certain infrastructure. I asked them, is that possible for Chinese companies to take part in that? And they didn't answer that also. So neither. So I think that is, what I got the messages from this administration during those times. But it's pretty long ago. It's about 10 years or at least 5 or 8 years ago.
Wow.
I see. All right. Thank you very much.
All right, Mee, thanks for getting up early. Have a good day there. And we'll
thank you.
All righty, take care. And next week on The Whiners, our guest is sportscaster Christine Brennan, and she's the author of a new book about Caitlin Clark, and we'll be talking about all the wacky antics going on in the Women's National Basketball Association. So see you next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Take care, everybody.
Take care.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please like, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We really appreciate your support. Also, I'd like to remind you, our beloved audience, to visit whiners.gold to get your free gold and silver kit that explains how precious metals can diversify your retirement portfolio. And right now, Goldco is running a limited time promotion. Qualifying customers are eligible for a free solar generator. So just go to whiners.gold for more information and to see if you qualify.